Hey everyone, welcome back. In today's video I'm going to be showing you how to make one of these cute beaded pumpkins. I have a video from last year for a beaded pumpkin. It's a bit smaller than this one, so if you want to check that out, that's on my channel already. Today I'm going to show you how to make this seed bead pumpkin. So to make a pumpkin you will need size 11 seed beads. I'm using Miyuki seed bead size 11 matte opaque pale pumpkin dyed, and you'll also need some green for the stalk, and I'm using Preciosa seed bead size 11 opaque olivine green. I'm using £6 fireline and my beading needle. So let's get started. So begin by threading your needle. I'm using about just over an arm's length of thread, but you can always add more if you need to as you go. So you're going to start by picking up 4 of your orange beads and I'm going to slide those down, leaving just a few inches for your tail. Then you're going to sew up through the first one. Like that. And next you're going to be putting 1 bead in between those 4 that we just added. So pick up 1, coming out of this one, go straight into the next bead in the circle. Pick up another one, now you're coming out of this one, you're going to go straight into that next one. Pick up another one. So we're coming out the top bead now, we're going to go down through that next one. So now we have this, now we're going to pick up 1 more for this row. So we're coming out of this one, going to go straight into the one next to it. So you have this, but in order to start the next row you need to go through this bead as well. So you're ready to add more beads. Now you've got this. This time we're going to pick up 2 beads each time. So you're going to pick up your first 2, coming out of this one, skip the one underneath and go through the next one on the top. Make sure they sit like that. Pick up 2 more, coming out of this one, skip that one underneath and go through the one after that. We have this, pick up 2 more. Now we're coming out of this one, skip the next one underneath and go through the one after that. Pick up your last 2 for this round. So you're coming out of this one here, you're going to skip the one underneath, go through the next one. And I get quite a few questions about how you know it's time to step up. So there's a couple of ways to know. So now I'm at the end of the row. There's nowhere, I'm coming out of this bead here. There's nowhere for me to add new beads, if you see what I mean. This space is already taken. So that means it's time to step up, so you need to go up through these 2. Now you've got a space to fill. The other way that you can tell is if you know how many beads are in your row. So if you're following a pattern, like that last row we know we did 4 groups of 2. So once you've added all 8 beads, you know you need to step up. But back to this. This time you're going to be picking up 1 bead, coming out of here, out of this bead here, I'm going to skip that one underneath, fill this gap and go through the next 1. We're not going through the next 2, just through the next 1, because we're going to be putting a bead in between those 2s that we added last time, like that. So now you're between these 2 beads here and you're going to pick up another bead and go straight into that next one and I'll show you that the bead just pops right between them. Now you're going to pick up another one, and you're going to fill this gap here, so you're coming out of this one, skip that one, go through the next one. Now you're between a group of two again, so you're going to pick one up, coming out of this one here, I'm going to go straight into the next one. Pick up one, coming out of this one, skip that one underneath and go through the next one. Now we're between this group of two again, so we're going to pick one up, we're coming out of this one, and you're going to go straight into that one next to it. And this is increasing the size of our circle by adding one in between the doubles as well as in the gaps. So now we're going to pick up one more, coming out of this one, skip the one underneath, go through the next one. Now you're between a group of two, so you're going to go straight into the next bead. Pick up a bead and go straight into the next one. So now we're at the end of the row, so we're going to step up into that next bead above. So we're coming out of this one, step up into that next row. Pull it tight, and you should have this. This time we're going to be putting groups of two in between those beads we added in the row below. So pick up your first two, coming out of this one, you're going to go into the next one on the top row, so you skip the one underneath and go through the next one which is on the top row. Pick up two more, coming out of this one, skip that one, go through this next one on the top row. Pick up two more, coming out of this one, skip over one, go into the next one. And again, pick up two and go into the next one on the top row. Pick up two more, coming out of this one, skip over one and go into the next one. You're going to do this all the way around. Okay, so I'm adding my last two of the row. So do the same again, skip over one, go through the next one, and this time you also want to step up through the next two beads. So this is where I am. So I'm coming out of this one, I've picked up my two beads, I'm going to skip over that one, go through the next one like normal, which is that one. But as it's the end of the row, I'm going to step up through the two above as well, because we added two beads at a time last time. And you should have this. For this row we're going to be adding one bead each time, but we're not going to be putting one in between the doubles this time. We're going to be treating them as if they're one bead and going through them both together. So you're going to pick up your first bead, you're coming out of these two here, skip the one underneath and go through the next two on the top row. And then pick up your next bead, skip over one and go through the next two on the top row. Pick up your bead, coming out of this one, skip the one underneath and go through the next two. And again, pick up one, skip the one underneath, go through the next two on the top row. These are the groups of two that we added in the row below. So you're picking up one each time and going through the next group of two, all the way around. When you get to the end of the row, you're going to go through the last two, like that, and also up into that one above. So you're ready to add more beads. and pull it tight. Now you've got this. Now we're going to be adding 2 beads in between those single ones we added last time. So pick up your first 2, you're coming out of this one, you're going to skip the 2 underneath, go through the next single bead on the top row. Same again, pick up 2, skip the 2 below, go through the next one. Pick up 2, skip over 2, go through the next single bead. Pick up 2, skip over 2 and go through the next single bead on the top row. And you're going to do that all the way around. So when you get to the last one, you're going to do the same again. So pick up your 2, skip over 2, go through the next one and also up through the 2 above. The first 2 that we added in the row below. Then you're going to pull it tight. Now we have this. This time we're back to doing 1 bead and we're also putting a bead between those groups of 2 again. So pick up your first bead, coming out of here, you're going to skip over 1. See, coming out of here, skip the one underneath, go through the next bead on the top row. Now you are coming out here between this group of 2 that we added in the row below. So we're going to pick up 1 bead, we're coming out of this one, we're going to go straight into that second bead in that group of 2. Now we're going to pick up another one. This time we're coming out here, we've got this gap to fill, so skip the one underneath and go through the next bead. Now we're between this group of 2, so you're going to pick up 1, coming out of this one, go straight into the next one. So you're alternating between filling a gap and putting 1 between a group of 2. So now you're going to pick up another bead, coming out here, we're going to skip that one underneath and go through the next one. Now we're between the group of 2, so we're going to go straight into the next bead. And you're going to keep doing that all the way around, so you skip over 1, go through the next one, and then when you're between a group of 2, you go straight into the next bead. You can just go back and go over it again if you need to. Otherwise, I'll meet you at the end of the row. When you go in to put the bead between the groups of 2, make sure you pull it really tight each time and make sure it sits right between the beads. So just add in the last bead between the group of 2. So it's pretty tight now, but I'm coming out of this one here, so I've picked up a bead and I'm going to go straight into that one next to it, and then I'm going to step up into this bead above. Get it tight and make sure that that last bead that you added sits in the right place. So now you've got this. So now it's really simple. From now on we're just going to be doing regular peyote stitch, and if you're familiar with that, that means we're just going to be putting 1 bead in between all of these and so on. So you pick up a bead, skip over 1, go through the next one. So pick up your first bead, you're coming out of this one, you go into the next one on the top row. Pick up another bead, coming out of this one, skip the one underneath, go through the next one. Again, skip the one underneath, go through the next one on the top row. Pick up one, skip the one underneath, go through the next one on the top row. And that's what you're going to do, putting a bead in each of these gaps, right the way around until you get to the end of the row. Okay, so I'm adding the last bead of the row, same as always, go through the last bead and then step up into the row above. Pull it through, and then you're going to want to put your finger in the middle and pull it really tight. Okay, so now we've got this, and we're going to do exactly the same thing again. So you're doing the same again, you're going to pick up one, skip one, go through the next one on the top row. Pick up one, skip the one underneath, go through the next one on the top row. Pick up one, skip the one underneath, go through the next one. And you're going to do that again all the way around. So when you get to the last bead in the row, again skip over one, go through the next one, and then step up like that into the row above. And pull it tight again. This time you should feel it cinch in when you pull it. You should have this, and it's like starting to look like a bowl shape. So now what we're going to do is the same again. You're going to do another row of adding one bead in between each. So I'm going to start off, pick up one, go through the next one on the top row. Pick up one, go through the next one on the top row. Pick up one, go through the next one, and so on all the way around the circle. And I'm at the end of the row again, so I'm going to add the last one, and I'm going to step up like that into that bead that's in the top row and pull it tight, and you should feel it pull together again. Now we've got this. So yep, you guessed it, we need to do another row exactly the same. So do another row of peyote stitch, adding one bead each time and going through the next bead in the top row. So do that all the way around. Okay, I'm adding the last bead of that row and stepping up into the row above. Pulling it tight, and now I've got this. So we're going to do one last row of the same thing. Promise this is the last one the same. So you're going to do one more row, adding one bead in between each bead. So go ahead and do that one more time, and then I'll tell you what to do next. Okay, so I've added that row and I've stepped up and I'm ready to carry on. So when you get to this point, if you were to carry on adding more rows doing the same thing, just doing regular peyote stitch, it would just keep getting taller and taller. So if you had another pattern in mind or another shape that you wanted to create, if you keep adding rows where you add a single bead, it won't decrease any, it will just keep getting taller and taller. But that's as far as I want to go for my pumpkin. We are going to start decreasing. So you're going to pick up one bead. Maybe if I show you like this. So we're coming out of this one here. I'm going to go through the next one on the top row and the one after that. So do you see what I've done there? So I'm coming out of this one, I've picked up a bead, I've gone through the next two on the top row, and where that needle goes through there is where the string is going to be, and when you pull it tight it's going to pull those two beads together. So now you see we've got that one bead there and then we've got a bridge of thread there, and when we pull it tight at the end those two beads will come close together. We're going to do that again, so we're going to pick up one and we're going to go through the next two beads on the top row, and again pick up one, go through the next two beads on the top row, pick up one, go through the next two, 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 and pick up one and go through the next two, and that's the last two of the row. So then, as always, you're going to step up into that bead above, and when you've done that, pull it tight as you can. So you've got this, and where those threads are, they should disappear and the beads should be pulled together. This row we're going to be adding a single bead, and we're going to be going into the beads which are on the top row. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 beads. So pick up your bead, you're going to skip those two together there and go through the next one on the top. Same again, pick up one, going to skip those two underneath, you're going to go through that one there that's on the top. And again, pick up one, skip over those two and go through the next one on the top. Pick up one. You're going through these ones that are at the top of these little points that we've created. So you're going to be going through the next one on the top of the point, which is this one. Pick up one, go through the next one on the top. Pick up one, go through the next one on the top. And keep doing that all the way around. So now I'm at the end, so I'm going to do the same again. I'm going to skip those two underneath, go through the next one on the top, like that, and also through that next bead. Pull it tight. Okay, so now we've got this. So now this is when it gets a bit tricky to see which beads you're working with. So if I pull it really tight, so you're coming out of this one, you're always going to skip the next one and go through the one after. So pick up a bead and do that. So ignore all the other beads around you, you're coming out of this one, you're going to skip the next one, go through the one after that. If you follow that pattern, then you should not get lost. So pick up one, now we're coming out of this one, skip the one next to it, go through the one after that. pick up one, skip that one, go through the one after, and it gets a bit tighter the further around the circle you get, but if you keep doing that then you should be fine. So coming out of this one, skip the one underneath, go through the next one in the middle, coming out of this one, skip the next one, go through the one after that, pick up one, skip the next one, go through the one after that. Even if it looks like there's not space for one to fit, just keep doing the same pattern and they'll pop into the right place. So like here, you would think there's not space for a bead to fit there, but it will pop into place. So you're going to skip the one underneath, go through the next one, and it's the last one in the row. So I'm also going to step up into that one above, the one right next to it, and pull it really tight, and we have this. So yeah, so now you're going to pick up one, you're coming out of this one, you're going to skip over the next one, which is in this middlemost circle of 8. These ones that are right in the middle. So you're coming out of this one, skip that one, go through the one after that. And again, pick up one, now you're coming out of this one, skip the next one in that circle and go through the one after that. And again, we're coming out of this one now, I'm going to skip the next one, go through the one after that. Coming out of this one, skip the next one, go through the last one, which is the one that our first one is coming out of. Pull it tight. And then you're going to go through those last 4 beads that you added again, and it doesn't matter that they're going to sit up a little bit. Okay, sort of pop them into place if you need to. So that's the basic shape finished. Now I'm going to show you how I add a little stalk. Okay, so to make the stalk, you should still be exiting out of, it's a bit hard to see now where they are, but this group of 4 on the top, you're going to pick up one, go through the next one in the group of 4. So I'm coming out of this one and going through the one on the top of that group. Pick up one. Now I'm going to go down through the one on the side of that group of 4. Pick up one more, and I'm going to go through the next one on that group of 4, and without picking up another one, I'm going to go through the last one in that group of 4 and up into the first green one that we added. So now you're working with 3 beads. And what you're going to do is, we're going to do 3 rows of tubular peyote stitch. So you're going to pick up 1 bead, you're coming out of this green one, go into the next green one. Pick up another green bead and go into the next green one. Pick up another green bead and go into that first green bead that we came out of, and up into the one above, so you can add another row, and then pull it really tight. Now you've got this, now you're working with the 3 beads which are on the top. So pick up one, you're coming out of this one, you go through the next one on the top, pick up another. Now you're coming out of this one, you're going to go through the next one on the top, so skip that one which is underneath, which you'll be able to see is lower on your piece. So skip that one, go through the next one on the top, pick up one more, coming out of this one, skip the one underneath, go through the next one on the top, and up into the one above, which was the first one we added in that row. Pull it tight and you've got this. Now it's up to you how many rows you do. For yours I always do 3. For my stalk, so I'm going to do 1 more row. So pick up one and go through the next bead on the top row. Pick up one, go through the next green bead on the top row, and 1 more. When you get to the end of how as tall as you want it, circle through the last 3 beads, the top 3 beads, a couple of times just to bring them together and finish it off. Pull it tight, and now you've got this. So I like to add this extra little leaf detail on mine because we were working with a circle of 4 and we decreased it to 3, so it does sit slightly off centre, the stalk. So I like to add this just to balance it out a little bit. So you're going to move back down through these beads until you're exiting out of one of your green beads, which is right at the bottom of that little stalk. So one of the green beads right at the bottom. You need to look at your piece and figure out which side is like lopsided. So I've got the biggest gap here, so I'm gonna move my thread round this side. Doesn't really matter. And then what I did was I picked up 3 green beads, slide those down. Then I'm going to pick up 2. I'm not going to slide the 2 down. Instead, I'm going to hold them on my needle and I'm going to sew back up through those 3 green ones we just added. Pull it tight, and if you pull on the 2, as you pull it tight, it should sit to the end like that. And then I'm going to sew my needle back into one of those green beads on the bottom just to secure it. So that's that. So now all you need to do is tie off or cut off your threads, however you want to do that, and then I'll meet you back here. So that's our finished pumpkin, so I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful and you're able to make one of these in time for Halloween. And if you do make one I'd love to see, please share it with me on Instagram at Beading by Hannah, and comment down below anything else you'd like to see for Halloween or anything else that you'd like me to make. And like this video if you enjoyed, and subscribe to see more of my videos. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time. Bye!